Welcome to Curiosity, the podcast where science meets wonder. Join us as we explore the fascinating, the innovative, and the unexpected, from the secrets of the cosmos to the marvels of everyday life. Each episode takes you on a journey to uncover the knowledge and stories that fuel our endless quest for understanding. Let your curiosity guide you.
Goethe, the eternal flame of genius and creativity. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, one of the most prominent figures in world literature and intellectual history, stands as a towering symbol of the German Enlightenment, Romanticism, and beyond. Born on August 28, 1749, in Frankfurt am Main, Goethe's life and works were a testament to his insatiable curiosity, boundless creativity, and profound intellect. His influence extended far beyond literature, encompassing philosophy, science, and even politics, making him a polymath whose legacy continues to inspire. Goethe grew up in a well-to-do bourgeois household, which afforded him an excellent education and exposure to the intellectual trends of the time. His father, Johann Caspar Goethe, was a strict and ambitious man who ensured that young Goethe received extensive tutoring in languages, literature, and the arts. Goethe's mother, Katharina Elisabeth Textor, provided a counterbalance with her warmth and storytelling abilities, instilling in him a love for poetry and narrative. These contrasting parental influences created a fertile ground for Goethe's imaginative and disciplined nature to thrive. Frankfurt in the mid-18th century was a city alive with cultural and intellectual energy. It was a time of Enlightenment ideals spreading across Europe, emphasizing reason, individualism, and scientific inquiry. Goethe was immersed in this environment, absorbing the works of luminaries like Voltaire, Rousseau, and Newton. However, he was equally drawn to the mysticism and emotional intensity of the burgeoning Sturm und Drang, storm and stress, movement, which sought to rebel against the constraints of rationalism and celebrate the sublime, the passionate, and the untamed forces of nature. Goethe's early literary experiments began during his teenage years, when he penned poems, plays, and essays that showcased his precocious talent and wide-ranging interests. However, it was during his university years that his intellectual horizons truly expanded. In 1765, Goethe enrolled at the University of Leipzig to study law, as was expected of a young man of his social standing. Yet, his true passions lay elsewhere, and he spent much of his time engaging with the vibrant literary and artistic circles of the city. In Leipzig, Goethe encountered the Rococo aesthetic, characterized by its elegance, wit, and charm, which significantly influenced his early poetry. He also developed an appreciation for music, attending performances, and befriending composers who would later inform his understanding of rhythm and harmony in language. Among his most formative experiences was his mentorship under Adam Friedrich Oeser, a painter and art theorist who introduced Goethe to classical ideals of beauty and proportion. These lessons left an indelible mark on Goethe's artistic sensibilities. Tragedy struck during his time in Leipzig and Goethe fell gravely ill, forcing him to return to Frankfurt to recover. This period of convalescence proved to be a turning point. Isolated from the vibrant intellectual life he had enjoyed, Goethe turned inward, delving into philosophical and spiritual questions that would resonate throughout his career. It was during this time that he began to question the rigid structures of academic law and societal expectations, setting the stage for his later rebellions against convention. In 1770, Goethe resumed his legal studies at the University of Strasbourg, where he would encounter experiences and relationships that profoundly shaped his worldview. Strasbourg, with its blend of Germanic and French influences, exposed Goethe to new cultural currents. Most notably, it was here that he met Johann Gottfried Herder, a philosopher and literary critic whose ideas about language, folklore, and the interconnectedness of cultures deeply influenced Goethe. Herder introduced Goethe to the concept of Volksgeist, or the spirit of the people, emphasizing the importance of native traditions and the organic development of cultures. This encounter ignited Goethe's interest in German folklore and the natural rhythms of language, steering him toward the themes of authenticity and individuality that would define his literary output. The friendship between Goethe and Herder was catalytic, inspiring Goethe to embrace his unique voice and reject the imitative styles that had previously dominated his writing. During his time in Strasbourg, Goethe also experienced a transformative love affair with Friederike Bryan, the daughter of a pastor in the nearby village of Sessenheim. This relationship not only provided emotional depth to his poetry but also deepened his appreciation for rural life and the simplicity of the natural world. Friederike became the muse for many of his early poems, which were infused with a blend of romantic idealism and poignant melancholy. These formative years culminated in the publication of The Sorrows of Young Werther in 1774, a novel that catapulted Goethe to international fame and marked the beginning of his literary career. This epistolary novel, inspired by Goethe's own unrequited love for Charlotte Buff, captured the spirit of the Sturm und Drang movement with its intense emotionalism and exploration of individual suffering. The story of Werther, a sensitive young man driven to despair by unfulfilled love, resonated deeply with readers across Europe, sparking what came to be known as Werther fever. The novel not only established Goethe as a leading voice of his generation but also raised profound questions about the nature of love, individuality, and the human condition. By the mid-1770s, Goethe had become a cultural phenomenon, celebrated and criticized in equal measure for his radical ideas and emotional candor. Yet, the success of Werther was only the beginning. Behind the scenes, Goethe was already contemplating larger themes and more ambitious projects that would explore the intersection of art, science, and philosophy. His intellectual appetite was insatiable, driving him to pursue knowledge in fields as diverse as botany, optics, and geology, all of which would inform his creative work. The early phase of Goethe's life, marked by exploration, experimentation, and a deep engagement with the intellectual currents of his time, set the stage for his later achievements. From the emotional intensity of Werther to his philosophical inquiries under Herder's guidance, Goethe emerged as a multifaceted thinker whose work defied easy categorization. As Johann Wolfgang von Goethe matured, the scope and depth of his endeavors expanded dramatically, reflecting his insatiable curiosity and boundless creativity. By the late 1770s, Goethe's reputation as a literary prodigy was firmly established, but he was far from content to rest on his laurels. He sought new intellectual horizons, delving into philosophy, science, and the arts while grappling with questions of identity, purpose, and the role of the individual within society. In 1775, Goethe received an invitation from Duke Karl August of Saxe-Weimar to join his court in Weimar, a small but culturally significant duchy in central Germany. At only 26 years old, Goethe accepted the offer and relocated to Weimar, marking the beginning of a long and fruitful relationship with the duchy. What initially appeared to be a step into provincial obscurity became one of the most productive periods of his life. In Weimar, Goethe was afforded the freedom to explore a wide range of interests, and the patronage of the Duke shielded him from many of the financial and societal pressures that might have otherwise constrained his work. Goethe quickly rose to prominence within the court, taking on a variety of administrative roles that showcased his organizational acumen and practical intelligence. He managed mining operations, oversaw public works projects, and even implemented educational reforms. These responsibilities, while seemingly mundane, allowed Goethe to engage directly with the material realities of governance and society, providing him with a deeper understanding of the human condition and the challenges of leadership. His experiences in Weimar would later inform his literary works, infusing them with a nuanced perspective on power, responsibility, and the interplay between individual aspirations and collective needs. Despite his administrative duties, Goethe continued to write prolifically. During this period, he turned his attention to dramatic literature, producing works that reflected his growing interest in classical antiquity and the enduring themes of human struggle and redemption. His encounter with Johann Joachim Winckelmann's writings on classical art and aesthetics profoundly influenced his creative vision. Goethe became increasingly enamored with the ideals of harmony, proportion, and timeless beauty that characterized ancient Greek and Roman culture. This shift marked the beginning of his classical period, during which he sought to synthesize the emotional intensity of the Sturm und Drang movement with the rational clarity and order of classical ideals. One of the defining works of this era was Iphigenia in Tauris, a play that reimagines the Greek myth of Iphigenia with an emphasis on moral integrity and humanistic values. The play's protagonist, Iphigenia, embodies Goethe's vision of an enlightened individual who overcomes adversity through reason, compassion, and ethical conviction. The work was celebrated for its poetic language, psychological depth, and philosophical resonance, solidifying Goethe's reputation as a master dramatist. During his time in Weimar, Goethe also embarked on a profound personal and intellectual journey that would culminate in his first Italian sojourn from 1786 to 1788. Feeling creatively and emotionally stifled, he sought inspiration and renewal in the cradle of classical civilization. His travels through Italy were transformative, exposing him to the art, architecture, and landscapes that he had long admired from afar. In Rome, Florence, and Naples, Goethe immersed himself in the remnants of antiquity, studying classical sculptures, frescoes, and ruins with the meticulous eye of both an artist and a scientist. This Italian journey reinvigorated Goethe's creative spirit and reaffirmed his belief in the universality of beauty in the interconnectedness of art, nature, and human experience. The letters and journals he wrote during this period were later compiled into Italian Journey, a work that offers a rich account of his observations and reflections. It is not merely a travelogue but a testament to Goethe's intellectual evolution, capturing his transition from youthful exuberance to mature contemplation. Upon his return to Weimar, Goethe's work took on a new depth and sophistication. He resumed his administrative duties but with a renewed sense of purpose and balance. His creative output expanded to include poetry, prose, and scientific writings, each infused with the insights he had gained during his time in Italy. One of the most notable works from this period is Wilhelm Meister's Apprenticeship, a novel that explores themes of self-discovery, education, and the pursuit of a meaningful life. Often regarded as one of the first Bildungsroman, or coming-of-age novels, the work reflects Goethe's belief in the transformative power of experience and the importance of aligning one's personal aspirations with the greater good. Goethe's scientific pursuits during this time were equally groundbreaking. He challenged the prevailing Newtonian theories of color with his theory of colors, which proposed that color arises from the interplay of light and darkness rather than from the decomposition of light. Although his scientific theories were met with skepticism by the scientific community, they demonstrated his commitment to interdisciplinary inquiry and his willingness to challenge established paradigms. Goethe's approach to science, rooted in observation and holistic understanding, reflected his broader philosophical belief in the unity of nature and the interconnectedness of all phenomena. Another major undertaking during this period was the continued development of Faust, a monumental work that would occupy Goethe for most of his life. The story of Faust, a scholar who makes a pact with the devil in pursuit of ultimate knowledge and pleasure, serves as a profound exploration of human ambition, morality, and the search for meaning. The first part of Faust, published in 1808, is a masterpiece of dramatic poetry that combines elements of folklore, theology, and philosophy. It captures the tension between earthly desires and spiritual aspirations, a theme that resonated deeply with Goethe's own experiences and struggles. Goethe's life in Weimar was also enriched by his relationships with other luminaries of the time, including Friedrich Schiller. Their friendship and collaboration marked one of the most significant intellectual partnerships of the German Enlightenment. Together, they worked to advance the ideals of Weimar classicism, a movement that sought to elevate art and literature to reflect universal truths and enduring values. Schiller's influence can be seen in Goethe's later works, which exhibit a greater focus on ethical and philosophical themes. As Goethe navigated this period of intense creative and intellectual activity, he remained acutely aware of the broader social and political changes unfolding in Europe. The French Revolution and the subsequent rise of Napoleon Bonaparte had profound implications for the cultural and intellectual climate of the time. Goethe's views on these events were complex and often ambivalent. He admired the revolutionary ideals of liberty and equality but was deeply concerned about the violence and upheaval they engendered. These tensions are evident in his later writings, which grapple with questions of progress, tradition, and the role of the individual in shaping history. By the turn of the 19th century, Goethe had established himself not only as a literary giant but also as a cultural and intellectual leader whose influence extended far beyond the borders of Germany. His works from this period reflect a synthesis of the diverse influences and experiences that had shaped his life, offering a vision of humanity that is at once deeply personal and universally resonant. One of the defining projects of Goethe's later years was the completion of Faust, a work that had spanned decades of his life. The second part of Faust, published in 1832, expanded the narrative beyond the personal struggles of its protagonist to encompass a sweeping exploration of human history, culture, and the eternal quest for meaning. Unlike the first part, which focuses on Faust's pact with Mephistopheles and his pursuit of earthly pleasures, the second part ventures into allegorical realms, addressing themes of political power, artistic creation, and spiritual transcendence. The work culminates in Faust's ultimate redemption, a resolution that reflects Goethe's mature philosophy on the human condition. He posited that striving, even in the face of failure or moral ambiguity, is the essence of humanity. Faust's relentless pursuit of understanding and improvement, despite his flaws and missteps, serves as a testament to Goethe's belief in the transformative power of effort and aspiration. The completion of Faust stands as one of the crowning achievements of Goethe's career, encapsulating the breadth of his intellectual and artistic vision. In addition to his literary pursuits, Goethe continued to engage deeply with scientific inquiry, particularly in the fields of botany, mineralogy, and optics. His theory of metamorphosis in plants, first outlined in his earlier writings, evolved into a more comprehensive framework that sought to understand the underlying unity of organic life. Goethe proposed that all plant forms could be traced back to a single archetypal structure, an idea that anticipated later developments in evolutionary biology. Though his scientific methods were often criticized by contemporaries for their lack of empirical rigor, Goethe's holistic approach to understanding nature underscored his belief in the interconnectedness of all phenomena. Goethe's scientific interests also extended to geology, where he amassed an impressive collection of minerals and contributed observations that influenced the field. His fascination with natural processes mirrored his broader philosophical outlook, which sought to reconcile the material and the spiritual, the transient and the eternal. This dual perspective is evident in his later poetry, which often blends vivid descriptions of the natural world with meditations on mortality, creativity, and the sublime. The final decades of Goethe's life were also marked by his growing engagement with global literature and cultural exchange. He coined the term Weltliteratur, world literature, to describe the shared human heritage that transcends national and linguistic boundaries. Goethe's dialogues with writers, scholars, and artists from across Europe and beyond reflected his belief in the universality of artistic expression. He avidly read works from diverse traditions, including Persian poetry by Hafez and classical texts from India, integrating these influences into his own writing. This cosmopolitan outlook not only enriched Goethe's creative output but also positioned him as a pioneer in the study of comparative literature. Goethe's personal life during this period was characterized by both solitude and connection. Following the death of his close friend Friedrich Schiller in 1805, Goethe increasingly sought solace in his work and his correspondence with intellectual peers. His letters from this time reveal a man deeply reflective about his past and increasingly aware of his legacy. Despite his advancing age, Goethe maintained a remarkable vitality, engaging in lively discussions with visitors to Weimar and mentoring young writers and thinkers who sought his guidance. Among these younger figures was Johann Peter Eckermann, who became Goethe's confidant and chronicler during the final years of his life. Eckermann's conversations with Goethe provides invaluable insights into Goethe's thoughts on art, politics, and philosophy, offering a glimpse into the mind of a man who had lived through, and profoundly shaped, a transformative era in European history. Through these conversations, Goethe articulated his evolving views on the nature of genius, the role of art in society, and the interplay between individual creativity and collective cultural heritage. As Goethe approached the end of his life, he faced the inevitability of mortality with a sense of acceptance and curiosity. His final works reflect a reconciliation with the impermanence of existence and a celebration of the enduring power of art and knowledge. In poems like Marienbad Elegy, he grappled with themes of love, loss, and the passage of time, demonstrating an emotional depth that resonated with readers across generations. Goethe passed away on March 22, 1832, at the age of 82, in Weimar. His final words, reportedly more light, have been interpreted as a poignant summation of his lifelong quest for understanding and enlightenment. The legacy he left behind is unparalleled, encompassing not only his literary masterpieces but also his contributions to philosophy, science, and cultural discourse. Today, Goethe's works continue to inspire and challenge readers, inviting them to explore the complexities of human experience and the boundless possibilities of creative expression. From the passionate intensity of the sorrows of young Werther to the philosophical grandeur of Faust, Goethe's writings remain a testament to the enduring power of art to illuminate, transform, and transcend.